This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Dan Miller, he is into his 21st season voxing, calling Detroit Lions football on the radio, and also is talent and sports director for Detroit's Fox affiliate. He's the best, and he joins us now. Hey, Dan, Paul Allen, what's going on with you, brother? Things good?
Pete, always good, man. Great to hear your voice, PA.
Likewise. Almost 30 years working the Detroit sports scene for you. Is it more than 30?
It's 28 this year.
Okay, almost 3 decades working that Detroit sports scene. Who was the most popular team in the state when you started at Fox 2 in 97, and is it the same now?
So when I started in 97, the Wings were in between their back-to-back championships. So they owned the town at that point. And I would say now when baseball and football are good, I think this is a baseball and football town. It's nothing against basketball, nothing against the Wings, but just Tiger roots run deep. And I think Lions, maybe because of the history and the hope that people have and the emotion they have tied to this, I still think it's the shield in the NFL that rules, as I do in so many cities. And then just that this is such a strong baseball town that I feel like I'd put them 1-2. But believe me, when the Wings were winning and the Pistons won their championship in 2004, I mean, they were rock stars, man. It was something else. So I'd say for longevity, if you ask me just to rate it, I'd say football, baseball are 1-2. And then, not to take anything away from the success that the other organizations have had, because man, those runs were something else. The parades were amazing, and everybody just wrapped their arms around them.
All righty. So where does Michigan football rank in the pantheon of popularity? Because, I mean, back, with the Big House, man, back to the Bo Schembechler days, Desmond Howard and the Heisman pose and everything. I mean, Michigan Wolverines football, it's super popular there. I know that. But, where would you rank it in the pantheon?
It's hard because there's an automatic division right at the start because you have half the people that are Michigan State.
Right.
And they can't stand anything about Michigan. So you don't have that division when it comes to the Tigers, the Red Wings, or the Pistons, or the Lions, but you have an automatic no way for a great percentage of the people just because they have ties to Michigan State or maybe Central Michigan, Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan, whatever it might be. But there's not the complete buy-in because there's no competition for our professional teams, but there's strong competition when it comes to Michigan. Look, It's big. I would rank it behind, though, if you're just saying just pure number popularity, I'd rank it behind the pro teams just because you have so many people that would just never fall in line with a Maize and Blue championship because they're just never going to appreciate anything about them just because of the rivalry.
All right, down memory lane we go with Dan Miller, the radio play-by-play voice for the Detroit Lions, works with Lomas Brown. And going down memory lane's fun with you, man. Other side of the equation, 2008. All right, 2008. What was it like calling a winless season?
It's Jim Brandstatter and I worked that together, and we had a saying as we got into that thing, and it became apparent that this was going to be miserable. And we would look at each other, and we must have said it 1,000 times. We would look at each other and we'd just say, "Call the next play, just call the next play." And it was, people say to me, "How did you do those games when they were 0-16?" And I think you'll appreciate this. The game wasn't the hard part because there's something happening in front of you, and all you're doing is saying, "Here's what happened. Here's why it happened," and moving on to the next play. You've got a rhythm to it. The hardest part was everything you had to do during the week.
Right.
Because like you, I have to turn out a lot of, content during the week.
Yes.
And you're sitting down with coaches and players that are absolutely miserable. They don't have any answers to the questions that you're asking them. If they did, they'd do something about it.
Yep.
And they're hearing the same things over and over again. And just to dive deeper into that, these are men that have dedicated their lives to something, and every week they're being told in this endeavor, you're not good enough, and you're failing what you're trying to do in terms of winning and losing. And that was the hardest part. To me, anytime you're in a bad season, look, the game's not easy, but it's a story that kind of takes care of itself. You let it develop, you tell the story, and then you sign off and you're done. The hard part is during the week when you're sitting down and nobody wants to laugh, nobody wants to smile, nobody wants to buy into, having a good time and a little levity and doing something that fans will enjoy. That's the hardest part. And that's what I remember about 2008 was just dealing with the coaches and the players when they were just going through it, man.
That is so accurately stated.
Down memory lane we go.
With Dan Miller, box for the Lions. All right, let's see. A couple more here, then we'll get into the current team. The 03-04 NBA playoffs, okay? The Pistons won the championship, and Chauncey Billups was the MVP. How about this gambling bit that busted out involving Chauncey? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I think that's what we all said. Did not see that coming. I mean, obviously, we had known about Rozier. Malik Beasley, who's a Piston, has been involved in this, although not charged.
Right.
But Chauncey, I mean, it was like, that's one of the coolest dudes I've ever been around. Just watching him take that ride and being part of that, covering those teams. I don't even know how to put my shock into words at seeing him and disappointment and seeing him involved in that. And look, I don't know what it is yet. He deserves his innocence until proven guilty. But I mean, when you start hearing mafia and fixed poker games and things like that, it's just, it's nuts. And the question that comes to mind is why, but he would not be anywhere on a list of people that I've covered. I would have said would have been involved in something like that. And again, we don't know the whole story, but correct. To the shock value of his name coming out in connection with that, I think this whole city, who absolutely reveres him, was rocked.
Well, and you and I are close to the same age. We're both from the Maryland, Washington, D.C. area, and we're old schoolers. I mean, it's tough to shock us with because we've just seen and heard so much. Shoot. We lived in or around Washington, D.C. when Marion Barry was the mayor.
I always loved that one.
It took me a while to get there.
We saw some things with that, no doubt. And it's, but it's I think when it just comes completely out of left field, and PA, it's not even this basketball fixing that we're talking about, which if you read some of the court documents, he may be involved in as well, but it's just, you start reading mafia and mob and New York families and involved in illegal poker. It's like, no, how, why? And it just, I just think it's one of those things that we wake up one morning and see something come across Twitter and you're like, what in the world? And that one took a couple of clicks to read through to figure out, and still not knowing, but to figure out, wow, how in the heck did this guy get involved in that? And again, more facts will come out on that, but overall, like you said, just one you did not see coming and one that just kind of smacked you, and you were wow.
Yeah, I didn't even know La Cosa Nostra was still a thing.
Fox.
Until after that whole popped out. That's crazy. All right, Dan the Man on the Fan. The Lions absolutely can get to the Super Bowl this year. You're getting your safeties back for Sunday, aren't you? And that defense has been pretty good, for the most part this year, despite being down a bunch of players as usual at times. But getting those safeties back, that's good for you guys, isn't it?
It is. Not sure about Kirby. Didn't practice yesterday, so we'll know more about him as we get towards the weekend. That knee has been bothering him. He had to leave the game last time out, then came back, and then, or last time he played and then came back and they did not play against Tampa. So I don't know about him. Obviously, Branch being in suspension, he should be back. Terry and Arnold should be back. So that secondary starting to get some guys back. It would be big for them if Avonte Maddox is ready to go because you can slide him to either nickel or the other safety if Kirby's not there. So I think it'll look more like what we expect than what they had out there against Tampa. And credit those guys. They acquitted themselves well. But look, overall, this defense has been good against the run for several years now. That hasn't changed. They're better against the pass. If you just look at their raw numbers the past couple of years, they've been like 27th or 30th in terms of passing yards given up, which can be at times misleading, but it was also pretty consistent that they were down at the bottom of the league. And then you measure that with being a top 10 defense in terms of points given up, and you kind of scratch your head and say, what do I do with this? And I'm not sure, but they're taking the ball away more than they did last year. So doing things better than they did a year ago, and I think they feel good about that. And here's the thing. They're going to, unlike last year when they were not just losing guys, but losing guys for the season, DJ Reed will be back. Davenport will be back. Rodriguez is coming back. So most of the guys that they've lost over the next 3 to 4 weeks will be coming back. And I think that's one thing that has them excited is just that, after what they went through last year where guys were hurt then gone, this year there's hope that, as they get into December, and you don't know what's going to happen between now and then, they could be back at or near full strength. And that would certainly be different than it was a year ago where they were just kind of spitting oil down the stretch.
So with your squad, Dan, what's dramatically or just what's different about the team now compared to the one that lost opening weekend at Lambeau?
That was just a game that they didn't finish anything. If you look at that game, they gave up, I think it was the first 4 third down conversions to Green Bay's offense, and they had them right where they wanted them. They had them 3rd and 6, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, and couldn't get off the field. And then I think they had a streak of like 6 in a row. I think Green Bay might have finished like 4 out of 10 on 3rd down, something like that. But point being, they started poorly, then they were getting off the field, and then offensively, they got into the red zone a couple times and just didn't finish. They didn't get into the end zone. They just weren't doing what they normally do, and the offensive line was just not good that day. The communication was bad. I got 2 offensive linemen in the booth with me, and they're pointing out, you got guys going in the wrong direction here. They're not playing cohesively as a unit. And really, credit to them, it kind of flipped after that. And that offensive line, their communication improved. They got better. They've just been that game was just kind of a one-off for the mistakes that they made. Mm-hmm. And, offensively, I think they tell you the last 2 weeks they feel like they've left some things out there, but still 3rd in the league in scoring. And defensively, they've started taking the ball away and giving it to the offense, short fields, and giving them more opportunities. And when this team does that, they're hard to beat because when that offense gets rolling, it can be tough to stop. So I just think that was a strange game where you could see the makings of something, but they just didn't finish anything.
All right, so Aiden Hutchinson, who's one of the 2 best defensive ends in the NFL, along with Myles Garrett, he gets this nice extension. All right, big fat extension. So I'm like, cool. The Brad Holmes and the Lions are just really good about compensating their own before, like in Dallas, things get done with Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, and Dak Prescott, and so on. That's rarely the case in the Motor City. But, that's money on top of Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown and so on. They're just a list of those who have gotten extended. Okay, that's cool. That's good business. The thing that gets me, Dan, how in the heck are the Lions still $24 million under the cap with all this money that's been dispersed? What kind of a Ponzi scheme you running up there?
Well, I think if you look at the numbers, they start to kick in a lot of these contracts next year. So there's going to be some gymnastics that need to be done here between now and when these contracts all start to, really mature and come into big bucks. And I'm confident they have a plan on how to do it. I couldn't tell you what it is, but it is, guys have pointed out this morning on Twitter with this contract that Aiden has signed. It's nearly $1 billion in second contract. Jeez. And there's a couple things there. One, I do think at some point this is going to be difficult to maintain as all these contracts start to kick in. And you still have Laporta, you still have Branch that at some point will need to be extended. But I think the thing that feels good here, PA, is just that you didn't used to get second contracts in Detroit because the guys that you drafted just flamed out and weren't deserving of them. And what we've seen now is this regime has come in and built something. They've developed these players. They're keeping their players. There's an emotional attachment to these players, not just because they wear the uniform, but because they're really good. I think you can look at the bulk of these guys too and say, you know what, an Amon-Ra St. Brown, a Kirby Joseph, an Aiden Hutchinson, a Penei Sewell, a Jared Goff, who was obviously a trade but got an extension as well. These guys, and let me throw Jack Campbell in there as well as a guy that's going to need an extension at some point. But these guys are at or near the top of their position groups. I mean, these are really good players. These aren't, second contracts that are being given out just because they're here. They're second contracts given out because these guys have proven themselves, and that's just new here. We haven't had anybody that's done this with this football team in a long time. So it's exciting. I, like you, wonder how they're going to keep all this stuff together when these contracts really start getting into some of the bigger numbers. But I think these guys have earned equity in terms of having a plan and believing in their vision, and we'll see how it all works out. But it's fun. It's exciting. It's nice to see how other teams have done it the right way and be a part of that now. And it's been really cool to kind of sit back and watch these guys operate.
Time for two more.
With Dan Miller, play-by-play voice on the radio for the Detroit Lions, also on-air talent and sports director for Fox 2 in the Motor City. 21 years calling Lions football. That's really cool. What makes Dan Campbell a good coach?
Consistency. He doesn't change. He is the same guy if you're talking to him in the corner drinking a beer, if you're standing in the lobby of a hotel, or if he's addressing his team, and I think the players appreciate that. There is no hidden agenda with him. He will tell you exactly where you stand, and there's a trust factor that builds up in that. And on top of that, and I think this is where a lot of people got him wrong, it's a really, really smart football coach, and he has an ability to put a staff together that can develop players. And I think that shouldn't be lost, because it's easy to say draft well, but it doesn't matter if you don't bring them in and teach them how to play in this league, because guys don't show up knowing that. You have to teach them what it is to be a pro and what it is to be a pro in your system. And he has done a great job of hiring coaches that have done that. Just look at all the contracts we just talked about. Those are homegrown guys that have come in and learned what it is to be in this league. But he is just... And one thing that stands out to PA, he's got a wonderful ability to understand exactly what his team needs, whether it's a kick in the butt, whether he needs to let loose on the reins a little bit and just kind of let them, coast. He gets them ready to play. They don't have very many off weeks where you say, man, what happened to them this week? Everybody has them, but more often than not, they're ready to go. He just has a way of feeling what his team needs to get them ready for that week. And again, I'll throw this stat out there. They have not lost 2 games in a row in 51 games, October 30th, 2022. And no team in the league is close to that.
10/30/2022.
He has an ability, I think, to not let anything beat him twice, to get his teams ready to bounce back. And I just think there's, that to me says a lot about him and his ability to work week to week and understand what they need.
Wait a minute.
Box.
They lost to Washington in the playoffs than Green Bay week 1. So you mean regular season, right?
I'm not going with the Tiger Woods slam here. Yeah. I'm just talking about regular season games week to week.
Yep.
Okay. No back-to-back losses.
Yep. So so clearly that needs to get into the radio call here between the coin toss and the boom. So October 30th, 2022, that's the last time. 51 consecutive, you said?
51 consecutive games, losing 2 in a row.
Yep, that's terrific. All right, last one. What kind of reception do you expect JJ McCarthy to get?
Oh, good question. Michigan guys normally get some applause. Mm-hmm. Again, it's divided. So you're going to have some people that are Spartans in there that don't care for him at all.
Right.
There will certainly be respect there, but I would say probably lukewarm is my guess. Right. But there will be plenty of Wolverines fans that have an appreciation for the fact that this guy brought a national championship to them, and that will never be forgotten. He is, when you do that, you are part of the fabric of, a city and a state, and that will never change. But it just goes back to what I said. There is a division there of people that will never, ever, really appreciate that for what it is.
Yeah, unless it's Aiden Hutchinson, who's getting you 15 sacks at key times, right?
I guess he said he texted JJ after he got drafted and said he promised not to drive him into the ground, but to kind of roll over softly on him if he gets his hands on him.
You're fantastic. I really look forward to seeing you this weekend. I'll stop by your box and appreciate the time there, Dan. Have a good day.
Same with me, PA. Safe travels, man. Look forward to seeing you.
See you, bud. Dan Miller, 21-year play-by-play voice for the Detroit Lions, aiding us with our Steve's Appliances Marathon segment. Go to stevesappliances.com, learn more about fast delivery, free recycling, guaranteed low prices, and the clearance event that is taking place right now. So if you need appliances, they have a clearance event. They are fantastic people who work for Steve's Appliances, led by Sarah and Brian, the owners. stevesappliances.com and the clearance event. Check it out right now. Cash thing, and here they are.
The Fan, along with two men in a junk truck, want to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand and win some bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. Go to KFAN.com, enter the keyword BILLS. The keyword is BILLS, and you can enter that at KFAN.com. Welcome back. Penultimate segment, as PA would say, 9 to noon. It's 11:31 a.m. And I mentioned it during Vikes Bites, but we turn the page and change our faces and all of these things. The team's 3-4. And the most recent edition of our favorite football team was an absolute throttling at the hands of Justin Herbert and the Chargers and Harbaugh at SoFi Thursday ago. I get that. But we do have to kind of remind ourselves here is that at one point, it was JJ season. At one point, we were full of optimism. At one point, on the front end of this season, we were excited to see the plan laid out. The plan would be revitalizing the offensive line, adding some defensive pieces, and setting the stage, moving on from a Sam Darnold, setting the stage for a first-round pick from a couple seasons ago, now healthy and now active and now available. And we wanted to see what things would play out, how things would play out in 2025. So I just feel like in some ways we have to remind ourselves as JJ, the 2025 edition, JJ McCarthy, take 2, starts to unfold this week via practice, and in the end, him starting at Ford Field on Sunday, that there are some things that we were to be excited about into week 1 at Soldier Field and should be excited about seeing Sunday in Detroit. And I want to start here. The kid using his legs, PA.
First down for the Vikings at the Bears 27. McCarthy, play action out of the shotgun, looks to run to the right, sprints up the middle of the 20, dives ahead to the 15, and the athletic prowess of JJ McCarthy on display with a run of 12 and a first down for the Vikings.
And Paul, that's the first snap I think we've seen with both Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason in the game. So both running backs, as we get into this red zone, in the backfield at the same time. And
before the season, and we say a lot of things 9 to noon, you had thrown this out there, PA, kind of the idea of what some mandates, not even mandates, that's too strong, but the idea of the kid QB using his legs. And you threw out a number, 3 first downs, for instance. So over the course of a game, you want to see maybe the Vikings moving the chains, let's say 3 times with JJ's legs. And we could argue, well, I mean, maybe it's closer to 2 or maybe it's close to 4. We can do that all day. That's not the point. The point is the athleticism that JJ McCarthy presents was one of the part of the allure of getting to see the kid QB handle his business and do his thing. And when we got to see it, albeit in a vacuum, and frankly, opening night at Soldier Field, when we got to see the kid using his legs, you heard that highlight there. Some good things happened.
3rd and 1 from the Bears 14. McCarthy out of the shotgun, milking a 3-point lead. It is a run-pass option. McCarthy takes off to the right, to the 10. Stutter steps at the 5. Touchdown! He's JJ McCarthy.
So as I look forward to Ford Field, and as I get really, really pumped up to see number 9 on the field again, there is one part of this, the athleticism, that element of this offense at the QB position that we have not had, seeing that as an option again. No, I don't want to see him running for his life. We want to see poise. We want to see improved play up front in front of him. That includes the bookended tackles. But the athleticism is something that I think we have to start to be pumped up to see if that is real and it can come to fruition again.
I can't wait to watch him play game after game after game after game. And that's something I've said the last few days is I mean, who knows what he's going to be when he gets 20 to 30 starts underneath that belt.
Yep.
But what do we know now? We know we see him, we like him, and then he's gone. And then we see him again, and we like him, then he's gone. So that just has to stop. That just has to stop.
Indeed.
And nobody's saying he's a hockey kid. So the toughness is not a problem. I don't believe in luck. So therefore I'm not going to put him on bad luck. But the facts saw you against the Raiders, dug it. Oh, what happened? And Falcons game, everybody probably could have done better. Oh, wow, you're gone again. So that's first and foremost for me.
Yeah. Getting
out of the game the right way in one piece and playing in the Ravens game. Now, from an athletic standpoint, that's part of the reason that you drafted him, is you're able to move with him naturally. He's comfortable doing it. You can call plays and dial things up like that masterpiece they had on the read option to win the Bears game. It was a phenomenal play call and phenomenal execution, not only by McCarthy, but I think it was Jefferson, maybe Oliver. Somebody was down, Hawkinson, somebody was down by the goal line.
With a great block. It may have been Hawkinson, actually, that just kind of helped mode him into the end zone.
Just blocking the bleep out of somebody. So that covenant was good. Well, here we go again. All right. And it doesn't need to be pedal to the metal right out of the gate. People can have whatever expectations they want. That's great. It may not mesh with mine, but that doesn't mean mine are right. But my expectations for McCarthy beginning now is first and foremost, get out of this thing alive. Secondly, run for some first downs. Thirdly, show the NFL and Dan Campbell that, wow, I mean, when you had Wentz or when you had some of these other guys, you never did that off the bootleg, and it works. And I bet you when we see you later in the season, you're probably going to try to pass out of it. Okay. So things that we haven't seen that we know we will like, and response when things go poorly. To wit, was it Tyreek Stevenson, whomever he threw the ball to in the Bears game, and it went for a pick six?
Oh, Nashawn Wright.
Nashawn Wright. Are you kidding me? Nashawn Wright. Wow. All right, 3-2. How did he bounce back? He won the game. So, oh, wow, the kid did that? Yeah, he just must have been devastated. First NFL star. Yeah, he was, but he owned the whole fourth quarter, was better than every player on the field, and he won the game pretty much by himself. So he has that to him, but he also has the pick six to him. So you need to start somewhere. And the athletic part is something that the ankle has to be right to be able to do it. And it's going to be part of the calling card for JJ McCarthy. Noon Sunday, boom.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier, hyperbolic, hyper-accurate, just kind of where Justin Jefferson's role lies in all of this. Certainly best wide receiver, one of the best offensive players in the NFL, and you want to see that connection.
Justin Jefferson, 1 catch, 4 yards. He goes in motion to the left. He's changed his cleats, by the way. They're now purple. McCarthy back to pass, throws left, caught JJ. Caught Justin Jefferson from JJ at the 18-yard line. That's a connection of 17 yards and a first down. The Vikings are inside the red zone.
And it's hard to believe. I think it was later that drive he would find his only touchdown of the year.
We have a Tim Jones sighting. Wide receiver left, 3 receivers right. 3rd and 5 from the Bears 13. Chicago rushes 4. McCarthy straight drop to the end zone and touchdown! Justin Jefferson catches JJ McCarthy's first National Football League touchdown, and it's 17-12.
So I want to see 9 to 18 for 6, right? I want to see Jefferson in the end zone, but it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, the connectivity of him, JJ McCarthy, and these receivers. Will he have a favorite? Will it be just I'm going to find my star, Justin Jefferson, and it's going to be 10, 12, 13 targets? Or will it be Jordan Addison and the chemistry that the two built up during training camp? Is it a function of coverage, et cetera? You've talked about Hawkinson. The key for me, what I want to see on Sunday, something I'm excited about, I want to see this offense on time and in rhythm. The reason I picked that particular reception to Jefferson is, albeit the first 2 games, it was tough finding anything offensively that was on time and in rhythm. But when it was, it looked so damn good, PA. And his ability to find even opposite side of the field to the boundary, his ability to make those throws in small doses shined through. And so that's something specifically against the Lions. If we're going to have to keep pace with these kiddies, on time, in rhythm, I want to see that from number 9, and I'm pumped to see it.
Well, Dan Miller, their play-by-play voice, I didn't think Terrion Arnold, the Alabama corner, he's fast, he's good, he's all right. I mean, we'll see. He still has a lot of career in front of him. I didn't think he was coming back this week. Miller made it sound like he might. Kitty.
Okay.
Kitty. Ball should be going your way about 15 times during the course of the game. If you're coming back from an injury, this coaching staff picks on you until you show it you don't need to be picked on.
Yeah.
See Dre Greenlaw a few years ago for the Niners on Monday Night Football. Man hadn't played for like a month. O'Connell put him on 6 consecutive shallow crosses running across the field from the numbers to the numbers. He kept getting beat. So I don't care who your quarterback is in that situation. That's how you play the game. That's how you push the envelope, and that's how you play the game. You make the hurt guys who just came back, you make them make plays. I would fully expect the Lions to run at Van Ginkel. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't you put, if Van Ginkel plays, why wouldn't you put, it's Van Ginkel generally plays the Penei Sewell side of the equation. All right, so you probably don't need this, but why wouldn't you put Dan Skipper next to Penei Sewell and stretch right to Jahmyr Gibbs and just smash Van Ginkel? Why wouldn't you do that? He hasn't played in a month. I would. So all of that is going to come to roost this weekend.
Yeah.
And all of that plays into what McCarthy can or can't do. He's going back to Michigan. He played, I think it's 45 minutes to an hour. I think it's northwest from Detroit at Ann Arbor at the Big House. He's never played at Ford Field. I'm not even sure he's been to Ford Field, but I know he hasn't played there. So this is going to be big for McCarthy. It's family, friends, the return, ballyhooed. You got on the call, you got Tom Brady's going to be in the building. The whole thing's big. Whole thing's big. I can't wait to watch him, quite honestly.
And just one other aspect of this that I am excited to see from JJ McCarthy this Sunday, and you kind of alluded to it in terms of what he was able to do, rise to the occasion in the fourth quarter, whether the head coach wants to call them weighty downs. The kid comes through on 3rd and long.
12th play of a possession that's gone just 30 yards. Minnesota 3 of 5 on 3rd down, empty backfield. McCarthy, 7-step drop. Fires right side, and at the 18-yard line, Adam Thielen caught it. He caught it for a 20-yard connection, first down. Wow. The ball was knocked out after he was declared down. Adam Thielen, hearing it from the crowd, Detroit Lakes go crazy. This is his first game at U.S. Bank Stadium since Christmas Eve 2022 when Greg Joseph walked off on the Giants.
What a great throw by McCarthy, by the way. Just that deep out on the opposite side of the field. So, again, when we get our one-on-one matchups with these DBs, Paul, we're beating them.
When he's protected, one of the keys of that highlight, the reason I included it, the 7-step drop, PA. That has been a talker, whether we play the talkbacks, it's the texts. Hey, should Kevin O'Connell even call plays anymore? He keeps doing these 5 and 7 step drops, and he's getting the QB killed. Well, here's what I'll tell you. I know it's tough to forget, and it may be easy to forget, I should say, how bad this O-line was the first 2 games. And we can celebrate what School and Joe Huber and Brandell did in London and finding that victory there. Justin School on the left side, those first 2 games, was an actual real problem. And he has the right to get better, and he's performed better, sure. But when JJ McCarthy had time, when he was not immediately feeling the heat from the interior or around his backside edge on the left side, JJ McCarthy throws freaking flames, my friend. He absolutely does. He has the arm strength, and you give him 2.5, 3 seconds to see it.
Yeah.
Any reasonable amount of time to see it, and he's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to screw up. He's going to frustrate us. If you give him time, you will see more fastballs like he tossed to Thielen on that 3rd and 18, and he will move chains, and he will perform in the moments that matter. I hope you're right, because for those of us who were at Ford Field January 5th earlier this year, the P in PTSD is professional. It's professional. It's PTSD. I just hope no matter how any of this works out, we don't hear stuff like this.
3rd and 1 from the 7. 3 receivers right. Naylor to the left. Jones to the left of Darnold out of the shotgun. Lions come with a massive blitz. Sam back right at the end zone. Incomplete.
I can't believe this.
He overshot Jefferson. He overthrew Justin Jefferson back right at the end zone, and JJ was wide open. Well, this has to stop. This is ridiculous.
Go ahead and multiply that by 4. And hopefully we don't hear that. And we're probably going to hear one of these. Hopefully it's not markedly more than one like earlier this year.
Yeah.
1st and goal from the 3, and Jared Goff goes out of the shotgun, gives it to Gibbs, looking for touchdown number 4. Plows up the middle, into Blake Cashman.
Really?
And Jahmyr Gibbs
Really?
absolutely pushed everything that is purple and gold into the end zone, and now he's hit the superfecta. 4 touchdowns for Jahmyr Gibbs, and it's 30-9 Detroit.
All right, we'll be right back.
I can't wait.
All righty, that's 9 to noon for a Wednesday. Thank you very much for listening. The program is around the corner. Tomorrow, 9 to noon. Let's get a Wolves victory tonight so we can get some positivity into this covenant, because we start tomorrow's radio show with Finchy. Chris Finch, 9 to noon tomorrow, right out of the gate. I'm Paul Allen. Here comes Big Daddy Khan to put that wrap on the show.
Big boy's back.
The game is over.
Now, what did I do wrong?
Oh, man, it's clear that Halloween must be near. Hiding my eyes behind my hands, I'm stricken with fear. Watching our teams lose with some form of hope every night. Games full of jump scares, gore, and much fright. We try to flee and we're running in a hurry. Can't escape 3rd quarters in Jamal Murray. Carson Wentz makes us wince and he scares us to the core. I'd rather be forced to watch Saw Part 4. Clockwork Orange and my lids are wide open. Need a psychiatrist. We're all left coping. Sure, it's just sports. Maybe I should stop the whining. First period's wild games has me thinking of The Shining. And it wouldn't be complete without PJ's team. Nightmare near Oak Street. Could it be the cure to this disease? McCarthy at Ford Field dressed like Jason Voorhees?
He's JJ.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.